So the first chapter of this book is dedicated entirely to the history of Bani Isra'il. And so I try to piece together the history using the Quran, of course, as the basis, and then adding in more details from either biblical accounts or modern secular historical scholarship. And so I start the chapter with their forefather, Ibrahim alayhi salam, and his migration from Iraq to Palestine. He then had Ishaq and Yaqub alayhum salam, Yaqub being, of course, nicknamed Isra'il. And, of course, the children of Isra'il, the children of Yaqub, they were known as Bani Isra'il. So I go through the different phases of their history, how they ended up in Egypt, and what the situation was in Egypt at the time, how there was a group called the Hyksos who were ruling Egypt, a group that they themselves also had come from Canaan and had kicked out the old Egyptian regime. But then at some point, that old regime started a revolt under Ahmose I, and they retook the throne from the Hyksos. And they were, of course, the ones who would eventually enslave Bani Israel. Then, of course, we know that they fled, Bani Israel, they fled from Egypt under the guidance of Musa alayhi salam, and they eventually established a kingdom under their king, Talut. And then, of course, Dawood and Sulaiman alayhim salam after Talut. From there, I tell their story as a kingdom. I tell about their split into two kingdoms, their exile to Babylon, their return, their conquest by the Romans, and eventually their total destruction. And along the way, I mention all of the prophets that we know of, all the prophets that are mentioned in the Quran. For example, Ilyas and Al-Yasa and Zakaria and Yahya, and of course, Isa alayhi salam. And then I go into detail on the conflict between Paul, who is the founder of modern Christianity, and James. James in Arabic being Yaqub, who was the supposed half-brother of Isa alayhi salam and his Khalifa. Now James was later assassinated 30 years after Isa alayhi salam was raised up by Allah. And after this, Bani Israel split into three main communities. The followers of Isa alayhi salam and his brother James, these people would be known as the Ebionites. The followers of Paul, on the other hand, would later be called the Christians. And the followers of the rabbis who compiled a new book of laws on top of the Torah and on top of the Injil of Isa alayhi salam, they made this book called the Mishnah. And this would become the basis for a new religion called Judaism. And so I go through this entire history in a lot of detail in this chapter so that you can come out of it with a real understanding of who Bani Israel were, what their history was, and of course the chapter also clarifies a lot of misconceptions. It explains how Bani Israel were truly a Muslim nation and not a Jewish one, that a lot of people make that mistake. It explains the life of Isa alayhi salam and what happened to his true followers, his Hawariyun, his Sahaba. And it gives an explanation as to what happened to the Injil and how we lost it. Because what a lot of people really don't understand is that the Bible we have today is not the Injil at all. The Bible we have today, which is a Greek book, is the writings of the false prophet Paul and his followers. So, if you're interested in this book, go to my website and pre-order the book now. I will literally write your name into the book as an honor to you for being one of the original backers of this project. But this is only for the people who pre-order the book during this Ramadan. May Allah honor your name with a legacy that the ummah will never forget. And may the generations of people who read this book hundreds of years from now know that it was you who were the reason that this book could even exist. Ameen.